Welcome back to the Best Ball Boardroom. It is August 7th, and the casuals are joining us. All of the degens who have been drafting all summer long. Now is the time when you feel the fruits of your labor, all that work. You know the ADP like at the back of your hand. You know the stacks you are building. And Joe from down the road is just starting to join us now. This is when we get to take advantage. These are when the lobbies are as soft as they can be. And yeah, from a news-wise, I'm excited for running backs going to happen over the next week or two. I think some news is going to start coming out. Kareem Hunt, maybe going to New Orleans. Rookie tight ends could not be more in vogue. It's going to be exciting. But for today, I am ecstatic to bring on a DraftKings Millionaire Maker winner from ESPN, we all know the one, the only, Al Smizzle. How are we doing today?
I'm doing good, Justin, but I kind of felt like I took it a little personal because you said the casuals are joining us. The average Joe is here now. So, hi, everybody. Apparently, it's me.
Welcome, Al. What would you say your primarily audience is? Because, a lot of people know you from you won the Millionaire Maker in like 17, 18?
2016, week 2.
Wow, 2016.
Long
and
time.
Then, obviously, done it with ESPN. You've been on some podcasts with the Matthew Berry when he was doing, in those fantasy focus days. So do you think you have that more casual audience, or what would you say?
I have a mixed audience, and it's one that it's tough to curate, right? So like you've got people that are really hardcore. I've got in my Discord, there's a group of guys that stay there and start drafting constantly around March. And they've been in that best ball channel in my Discord, just pounding best ball drafts. I have a Rainmakers segment to my viewership. And then I've just got a broad audience because of ESPN. I've got people that have been around since the early Roto Grinders days back in 2013 who are still grinding DFS today. And I have to be able to speak to an audience of people who are somewhat new, don't know all the terms and the ways. And okay, why do we do that? Why do I need to put a quarterback with one of his pass catchers in tournaments? Why is that a good thing? What is a bring back play? You've got to talk to this entire broad audience.
It's true. And I like to think that normally the people who are paying attention to these, definitely ETR subscribers and kind of the ecosystem, are overall pretty sharp. But some of the best is being able to introduce and grow this game. It is crazy how when I won the BBM, 2.5 years ago, it was the size of what is now basically fills every couple days for the BBM.
Now it's a puppy.
Oh my God. If even, I think puppies are larger. Absolutely insane. But the growth that we've seen in this game, and I think August for DraftKings, for Underdog, for drafters, for maybe FFPC, for any of these ones that have these major contests, we're going to see growth. And what better time to kind of bring on some fantastic guests. And we'll hop into a draft right now. We'll have some fun. We were just chatting right before the show about kind of players we hate and such. What would you say is your kind of number one learning from best ball for this year that you're trying to apply?
So it takes me a while to kind of get into what my style is going to be for that year. Typically, I'm a hero or zero running back drafter. I like to get that, that one guy, or I'll just build through my premium quarterback stacks as I've been doing for a couple of years. And that's the route that everybody wants to go. So it's a little bit tougher. So once your way becomes the way, you have to find a different way to navigate. So wide receivers evaporating really fast right now on Underdog. Hey, look.
Influencer 1.01.
All right. So do you want to go standard and just be boring and go JJ, or do you want to get a little bit spicy and go Jamar Chase?
Yeah, sorry, we're trying to not lose everyone off this stream within the first 2 minutes. We're going to start with Justin Jefferson, and we can't. What is your is there a legitimate argument for going Jamar Chase in your mind at the 1.01?
Stackability with T. Higgins on the way back, and then Burrow in the 4th, 5th round.
Do you think that changes from the 2 pick?
I think it's there from the 2 pick. I just think at the 1, you can choose to go Justin Jefferson and decide what you want to do. Or you can get a little bit spicy. There's a lot of different ways you can go. Obviously, if you want to take that running back and go with Christian McCaffrey as well.
Yeah. I think from a portfolio management wise, I definitely fear that if I'm not taking Justin Jefferson overall, then you're probably going to end up a little on weighted poorly on him. I also think he's a tier above, but what do you want to do?
I'm fine with JJ.
Okay.
God. I don't think either one is a mistake. One from a stacking standpoint, this is the thing that's different, right? So like we worry about stacking, we worry about playing for week 17 and everything else, but like there's so many routes that you can go because of the way that they split up the pricing in this one. And like you can look at it as, well, I want to take down all the money in the playoff rounds, but that's so highly variant. One, you got to get to the playoff rounds, obviously, which we should be able to do at a higher than average clip. And two, there's so much. It's a $5 million GPP for 14 weeks. You know, it's a $5 million total points leagues. You can just go and attack value the whole draft and say, I'll let the playoffs take care of that when it gets there, and try and go after the total points leaderboard. There's so many different ways you can attack BBM this year that you really couldn't in years past.
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously had substantial DFS success. When you think of this week 17, you think of 450 people, you think of $3 million up top. Are you fully on board week 17, game stack correlation, all of that? Are you like, what are you kind of adjusting from your DFS world to that one game week 17 aspect?
I'm attacking the playoff stacks. I'll attack the week 17 stacks when they are there and when they line up. If I have a primary stack, so let's say I was to draft Travis Kelce in the first round. Like this is the one that makes a lot of sense to me, right? So if you draft Travis Kelce in the first round, it leaves you outs, right? In the second round, if you don't want to take somebody like Patrick Mahomes, who I know you don't like at ADP, it allows you to take T. Higgins in that second round. Or if your plan was to, if you're one of your viewers says, I want to take Patrick Mahomes because I want to set that up, you can take Mahomes there. You can line up with plenty of Bengals later, but it leaves you out. Same thing with Charger stack. If you were to go after a Charger stack, you get two of Eckler, Keenan Allen, and Williams early, and then somebody snipes Herbert from you because that's what people do. You have a Denver Broncos QB2 stack that you could build through later in the draft with guys like Courtland Sutton in the 90s, Russ Wilson's in like the 1-teens, Dulcich around the 120s. So there's week 17 stacks, in my opinion, that leave yourself outs through a solid roster building standpoint.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you mentioned two games that seem like pretty strong games. You got Denver LAC, you got Cincy KC. Are you specifically, hey, I want to target these game environments, or is it more of, hey, as my draft goes on, I just want to target, the games for the players that I'm going after? So are you players first or games environment first?
I'm players and value first, and then I'll let the things shape it. It's just there's so much sniping that goes on. We're finally getting to the point, and this is a sharp room just looking at the badges, right? So people are going to be somewhat cognizant of what to expect in these situations, right? So like they're not, if somebody takes two of the wide receivers, they're not going to take that quarterback, not leaving themselves with any outs with that stack, because if their guy has an MVP season, they're not going to capture all of that goodness on the back end of those 40 touchdowns, 5,000 receiving yards without the wide receiver 1 and 2. So sharper rooms, as we get closer to the end of August, quarterbacks start to drop in ADP. Earlier in draft season, the quarterback ADPs are really elevated. This is just the way that it goes every year. So I'm kind of players first. Everything seems to be going pretty much standard so far looking at the first round of this draft. So we'll see who's left to us in the second and third rounds at the turn.
One outlier here, Stephon Diggs going 4th overall, but doesn't impact us, obviously, as he's going to be gone before he gets back to us. I think what you were saying is interesting with regards to looking at a draft room and then thinking ahead with regards to kind of stacks and such. I believe that earlier on in the offseason, you were more able to kind of wait for your stacks to fall to you, because primarily I think sharper drafters were drafting in, May, June. The ones who are watching the streams are doing 150. As we get more into August, we get more casuals. I do think we're going to see, hey, you're going to get some frustration where you were thinking that QB was going to fall to you because you have both Tua and you both have both Tyreek and Waddle. And you're like, yeah, no one's going to reach on Tua. You're going to get some drafters who are going to reach on Tua. And it's
when they reach a round or two, that's when it sucks.
Yeah.
They reach a full round or two.
And it was just like, at those, you just got to kind of take and you say, hey, I'm not going to be willing to have drafted him 2 rounds too early or something. And then there's if you're willing to kind of wait on and say, hey, try to get that extra round of value, you're taking your chance. But let's give a look at this room.
Picks? You want to split these picks? You one and me one?
Oh, you've got, we're listening to you as long as you don't take it crazy. Half of this prize money is going out to you, so I trust you. But
I don't know if you're going to get. How often do you get stream sniped in these? Because whenever I do drafts online, I never put anybody in the queue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In general, it's not too bad. Occasionally you get someone, but like right here, we got Zeke and Destroy, who's a regular, who's in chat as well.
Mhm.
Let's see, where did he say that?
Because like with a JJ start, do you want to go full zero running back in this spot, or do you want to, if there is one of these running backs that kind of falls to us, do you want to go with one of the running backs?
Yeah, so I mean, if you take a look right now, if we were
Mhm.
drafting for the past couple months, gosh, I have so many teams that have Justin Jefferson and then two of these running backs between Barkley, Jacobs, JT, Henry.
Henry
Though,
going early.
yeah, those aren't really falling to this spot anymore, and now it feels like a reach if you're trying to grab the Josh Jacobs. You can still go JT. You're taking in some JT goes right there for two. We'll go back, but it is worth mentioning. Yeah, AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs, a very interesting 3-4 here. May just be okay. Young Moolah, red badge, is trying to get that Jalen Hurts double stack here. Makes sense why he wants to go with that uniqueness there. We are back on the board.
What do we got? I'm behind.
Oh,
I can't
okay.
see the list.
Okay. QBs, what we've got Hurts, we've got Allen. Running backs, there's nothing besides Jacobs. Wide receivers, T. Higgins.
I'm fine going Higgins and Mark Andrews here.
Okay. I like it.
I've kind of been staying away from JT and Jacobs. I'm not drafting Calvin Ridley that high. I know that he looked really fast in a Twitter video from camp against Zay Jones, which had him skyrocket a full round on ADP. Solid. Good camp work, guys.
I like it. So Zeke and Destroy did take Jamar Chase, obviously. We grabbed T. Higgins, so maybe he thinks we kind of screwed him over. It might be hard for us to get Burrow. Is there any argument to go on Hurts or Allen here?
If you want them, go Allen.
Nope. We got Mark Andrews. You said it first, putting it in play. I like it. I think there's also a bit of uniqueness.
It was not personal against Zeke and Destroy. It's best player available in the second and third round.
And there's a strong wide receiver.
And he could have taken T. Higgins there at the other spot if he wanted to. I would have taken Olave. So
I got a feeling in chat he's going to say he maybe was getting a little greedy, thought that he could get both, but knows we would take Olave there if he fell. And he goes Jalen Hurts. Now young Moolah is not going to be happy with that one. We've got an all-out battle going on here. This is going to be fun. Let's let them figure out so there's some value there. Zeke and Destroy grabbing Jalen Hurts means he probably won't be taking Joe Burrow in that 47. So if we wanted to go with the Burrow stack, bit of a unique one with Burrow, maybe, I don't know, a little more unique Burrow Higgins than Burrow Chase, but yeah. And then Mark Andrews stacking with Justin Jefferson. I was going to say, I actually like the uniqueness there because one, Mark Andrews normally doesn't go this high. He's kind of in that mid third, but also a lot of the Jefferson people stack with Hawkinson. So if you can now
you'd have to hope that Hawkinson makes to the 4 or 5 turn, which he usually does, and then it just becomes a standard Jefferson build. And I'm trying to stay away from the super standard builds because then you end up with the same stack that you have in every one of these. You have Justin Jefferson, Hawkinson, Addison, Cousins, and then whatever you feel like if you want to bring it back within a week 17.
I like that. All right, so let's give a little shout out. Who do we have in chat? Seems like we've got a ton of people from the Smiz community hanging out here. I'm sure you recognize a bunch of these and such from your world. For us, we've got the icon at the 11 spot here, Jeremy. As we mentioned, we got Zeke and Destroy at 2 there. Let's throw out a question for you. If you target that Dallas, Detroit, Denver, LAC, Buffalo, New England, not less of a question, more of a comment. You have that kind of additional correlation from a playoff standpoint. How much are you valuing weeks 15, 16 correlation versus the 17?
So I prioritize the 17, but if there is additional 15, 16, I look at it like a bonus, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not looking to say, okay, well, I have this as my primary week 17 stack, and then I need this game to hit in week 15. And then hopefully if I win the week 15, then I have this other secondary stack that correlates in week 16. Like at some point, guys, we can't manufacture our lineups that finely.
And if you do the actual math and the impact from an ROI of what it is to advance from week 15 to 16 versus week 16 to 17 versus doing well in week 17, it's something like 10 to 100. Like it might be 10x each time or 100x each time. How much more important it is to do well in that week 17. Yes, winning, advancing 1 out of 16 isn't easy, but it's a hell of a lot easier to randomly or just kind of with good, primary stacks win your group of 16 versus the value of actually if you win that 445, whatever it is, person group. Yeah.
How much do you love or hate the icons build here from the end of the first round?
Okay.
Because I see what he's doing.
Yes.
And I like it.
I find myself doing a decent amount of the Amon-Ra Jameer Gibbs. I've also received pushback from people saying that the way that Amon-Ra is going to win and prove his value is he's going to be a target hog, and that's going to cut into Jameer Gibbs. I don't think, I think they can both win just by that passing offense being highly concentrated and very efficient. And yeah, you're just setting up for a fantastic game stack. What I would prefer for the icon now is in pick 83, he grabs Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
And then
but that's the thing. That's the build we all have. That's route one, right? That's route one. It's straight up the middle. You get Dallas stacks, you get Lions stacks, and you get Prescott and you get Goff. And the question isn't, do you have a good team or a well-constructed team? You do. The question is, if that hits and makes it to week 17, there's going to be 15 people that have minimum. That's going to be half the people that drafted from the 11 spot or 12 spot or 10 spot who get those. One of, Amon-Ra, one of the Cowboys in round 2, Jameer Gibbs, Prescott, Gallup, maybe Jameson Williams, and the 2 QBs. Does uniqueness matter with your week 17 lineups? Is essentially the question I'm asking you. Is it enough to stack for week 6 or week 17, or do you have to be a little bit unique with yours? Like, is the Kansas City Chiefs stack too common because it's very easy to build? Is the Dallas Lions stack, is it just the right way to go because it's the right build with different bye weeks for the two teams, and has week 17 correlation with high grade offenses in a dome situation? Or is it too common that if you happen to get there, you have one unique player versus 15 or 16 other teams because they got there too?
Yeah. We are almost the clock. I will give a first quick response in that I don't think the field of 450 or so is that big enough that you need to worry about it. Because even if you just divide by 12, which would be the random chance, you still have like 36 teams there. You can keep getting these numbers a bit smaller to like how many actually have that stack. We'll finish on that in a minute. But coming back to us, refresher, we have Jefferson, Higgins, Mark Andrews. We could go Joe Mixon. We could go Joe Burrow. We could grab Hopkins, Kirk. Lots of options here.
Oh, he's going to take... Oh, he didn't. I thought Zeke was going to take Burrow there.
No, he's got Jalen Hurts.
Oh, that's right. He did go Jalen Hurts. Nice. Okay, so we go Burrow here. Okay. And then it's a question, do you want to build through DeAndre Hopkins or Kenneth Walker? Do you want a running back in this spot? Walker or Madison? Or do you want to get the week 17 correlation with Aaron Jones?
Yeah, I would say, so we're definitely going Burrow. That's going to go through. I would say we take some ADP value. We take best player on the board, Hopkins, make this a true 0 RB team, and kind of go from there.
All right. We'll make it happen. I did just put out a 0 running back video last week. So I have guys we can target a little bit later in the draft.
We have our QB, we have our tight end. We're probably going to have a 2 tight end, 2 QB build. That gives us a lot more opportunities too to hit on running backs if we make this a, say, 2-7, 7-2 build. All right, now back to the uniqueness conversation. My thought there is if you can still hit and you have that combo of that Dallas-Detroit game, there's 2 ways that you really get to that championship week. One is Dallas and/or Detroit just has like a huge year. They're high advance rate players. They do really well in the playoffs. In those scenarios, they are more high owned in that week 17. And now
robust
it's going to
running back in the 6th spot, by the way.
What are we looking at?
Robust running back draft.
Yeah,
very high T draft.
All the T there. And then Young Moolah grabbed his first non-wide receiver, goes with Fields to make up for that Hurts one, which I kind of like there too. Interesting. But yeah, so for the uniqueness, it comes down to, do you have unique players that got you to week 17 and then your stack becomes unique because they didn't actually perform that well? Or if that was the chalky part, then who do you have as complementary pieces for week 17 who can really boost you through? And so I think like it's okay to say, hey, I'm going to have that chalky correlated stack because that is what I still want, is having the correlated stack in week 17. But you need to think through who are the other pieces of this build that are going to help propel you in here. Getting a Breece Hall at 38 is strong.
6 of your top 10 picks are going to be Lions or Cowboys if you go with the full Lions Cowboys stacks.
6 of
so you have 4 picks in the top 10 to differentiate from all the other ones.
So 6 of your top 10. Who are those 6?
So first round, second round, third round.
Okay.
Right? It's going to be one of the two. It's CeeDee Lamb or Pollard in the second. It's Gibbs in the first. Then you got Cooks and you got the 2 QBs in rounds 9 and 10.
So I'm definitely not doing both QBs.
Why not?
All right. So 2 reasons.
Go all in.
So QBs in a game environment positively correlate together. Mm-hmm. In that scenario, we don't need both QBs in week 17 to be hitting, because if one of those goes off, highly likely the other one is also going off, and it's just duplicative.
There's 16 other weeks.
What was that?
There's 16 other weeks.
Yeah. So give me Gibbs and Amon-Ra, and I don't need Goff. Give me Cooks and Lamb, and I need Dak. It's a lot easier, especially if you have one of those running backs. Now I've got that game covered for the Dallas, but now let me figure out, maybe it's Geno Smith, maybe it's Aaron Rodgers, the Breece Hall, but you're then building something else to help you in those unique weeks. Because as you say, if you're only doing Detroit and Dallas, you need one of those 2 to go off in both weeks 15 and 16 to propel you.
He's building for the Geno secondary.
And they're chalk. So find that alternative secondary stack that can help propel you. And that's exactly what Icon looks like he's doing. Also, Icon, if you want to share this money with us when all 3 of us win this together, because it sounds like we're doing this. We got... no, I actually like a lot what Icon is doing here. I'm assuming, he'll end up grabbing Dak. The question is, does he go Cooks Dak, or does he gamble and hope that Dak falls to him at 107? Dak's ADP right now is 106, so like most likely he should fall there. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. Anything else interesting in this draft? What are we looking at?
What do we have coming up on this pick?
All right. From our team-wise, QB, tight end, we have the elites. We've got 3 great wide receivers, so we can either keep kind of strengthening that wide receiver core or take a look at it.
I did see one thing that was interesting. Last round, 55 pick, Rachaad White, about 25 picks ahead of ADP.
Yeah, and not really that you can... No badge here, so it's kind of just a, hey, draft who you like. The rest of the draft looks fairly normal. Cooper Kupp, Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley at a 7-pick value for his ADP. Throwing in a Rachaad White. Even Darren Waller. This is a little early for Waller, but not crazy.
Waller's climbing right now.
It is, 73.
Waller's
still 66,
climbing.
73, half a round, but give me your thoughts on this running back group that we have here. Is this like a, hey, this true dead zone? Are these who we should actually be looking at?
Montgomery's the only one out of that group, the top 4 that I like. I'm okay with Swift, but he's got a similar ADP to Montgomery. We're reaching on one of them in this spot, but I'm fine with it. If that's the route that we feel we have to go, they're definitely going to get really thin at running back very fast, especially with Rachaad White jumping off the board early. There goes Sanders. There goes Swift. I'm fine reaching for Montgomery here. I know that there's a lot of talk going that, they're just not going to fall on the 1-yard line as much. Okay, fine. I realize that. But also there's a lot of value in locking in the guy who we project to be the inside the 5 carry guy on a very good offense. And they went out and paid him more money. They let Jamal Williams walk, who was very good in that role and very popular in the clubhouse, and let him walk to go out and get him. And he is 25 pounds heavier than Jahmyr Gibbs, who, yes, they spent a lot of draft equity on. You like Dobbins this year?
I do. I think that right now we're just getting a good value on him, like not this 4 picks, but in general, because people are kind of feared of this contract situation, maybe the injury aspects. For me, that doesn't really scare me because we've heard reports that he's on the sideline, he's hugging the coaches, he's kind of laughing. Like, I don't think this is the same level of contract situation that we're seeing elsewhere. I think they get it figured out. My bullishness is on the Ravens offense as a whole, especially the passing game. And I think there's a chance that Dobbins can play a bit more in that. No, Lamar does not love passing to running backs. We haven't seen it before, but if that offense is just that much faster, Todd Monken has a role in just making it a bit more pass heavy. I think Dobbins can be a value at where he's being drafted in drafts right now.
So Dobbins usually isn't somebody that I draft this season. One, based on how we looked last season, yes, it was the first year back from knee reconstruction. Two, the contract stuff, but I get it. He's just somebody that I've personally been avoiding at cost, but with other zero RB guys jumping up the board like Rachaad White, missing out on Swift and Sanders, we do have to lock in somebody who does look like a solid play. And we have another big piece of that offense, at least in the passing game. It's interesting that you said that Lamar doesn't throw to backs. It's all running quarterbacks just because of the way that RPOs run. You're going to hand it off, you're going to run it, you're going to throw to that one wide receiver who's going to get pinged with a lot of targets, or one pass catcher, I should say, who's going to get pinged with a lot of targets because it's a single read sort of play.
Yeah, makes complete sense. We mentioned the Rachaad White. Also, Kenneth Walker falling to 63 here. Someone we were considering, and the running back probably that's my favorite when we were on the board at 49. Fantastic value there. That's a bit
Injury
of a fall.
Scaring people, or what do you think?
I think so. Yeah, like if you're on DraftKings, just having that key where that out tag ends up giving you an extra round or so. And yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what the Kenneth Walker note is right now. I can't see it through this. But I think in general, like it's still maybe that day to day, or a while.
Brandon Cooks didn't make it to the icon.
Brandon Cooks going 80. Icon is in shambles. That's okay. Hey, it's just not going to be as chalky as Al was concerned about earlier. So how can you get unique? Jahan Dotson is how he does it, which, hey, you're getting about a half a round of value, and Jahan Dotson does add some uniqueness.
I was going to troll you and say we should totally draft Ingram here. Are there any so Waddle and Hill go? Okay.
Yes.
So and we're thin at running back. A-Chain has what, like a 1-teens ADP? I haven't checked like this morning.
118, I think.
Yeah, he's in the 1-teens, right? So is he going to make it back to us after this next pick? Because there's some, week 17 Dolphins, Ravens, young running back late in the season, big playability, Cinderella story, 18th hole at Augusta.
For me, that's too much of a reach.
I'm not saying now. I'm saying, is he going to make it back to us at 120, 121?
Yeah, I mean, if he does, awesome. It's 4 picks, and I think we would take him. But I'm saying it's probably too much of a reach for me to go with him at 96, 97, because you can also grab Raheem Mostert at 145. We could maybe grab Jeff Wilson. You might even be able to get Dalvin Cook and make a bet there and such. But so I'm just not willing to reach. I think it's about 2 rounds for each.
This is where Cook has been going, in like the 95 range.
Yeah, I just won't ever. I mean,
I won't. Do you think he goes to Miami? I think he goes to the Jets.
I think Miami is still fairly unlikely. I think it's clear that he wants Miami, but the Miami team is like, we'll give you $3 million, whatever it is, and you're going to be a complimentary player. And that's not what he wants. But as time goes on with the Jets, the longer it is that he hasn't signed a contract since his visit, I do think it is a bit less likely. I don't think ownership, or I don't think the management wants Dalvin there. I think that maybe it's Rodgers who wants him, because Rodgers, got that very player-friendly contract, giving back money to the Jets to do something with.
You say he's LeBron James right now? He's the GM?
If you ask him, I mean, he probably is.
He was the offensive coordinator in that preseason game. Why can't he wear multiple hats?
He got his own offensive coordinator back. So, I mean,
I really don't like Rack and Willie right now, because he took Sky Moore and we are enemies for the next 30 minutes.
Wait, give me this one.
I wanted Sky Moore at this next pick.
Okay, talk to me. Why'd you want Sky Moore?
Week 17.
Okay.
He's going to be the guy who's going to be on the field all of the time. Right now, it's Watson's the number 3 guy. Everybody wants Ross, but I'm not seeing it. Yes, he's much later, 165. I'd rather have Watson in that range or later than the Twitter video masterpieces that Justin Ross is throwing out there. And Sky Moore is flown up on ADP, but 96, 97 with a Burrow Higgins stack, that's a pretty solid bring back. I'm not sure that he would have made it past the chase team Zeke can destroy.
Yeah, and I mean he's just getting to a place where from an
A lot of
ADP,
running
like
backs
people just
jumping up a round to round and a half in this range. These guys were all 95 to 115 over the last week. Kamara, Cook hasn't gone. Pacheco's right where he should be. James Cook has been 95 to 100. We mentioned Rashad White at 55. That's
very
really
early.
fast. So
There
running
goes
backs definitely in that
Penny
0 RB zone
jumping.
moving forward.
Yeah. All right, we are next on the board. If we're looking at correlation, we have AJ Dillon versus
Mhm.
Justin Jefferson. Any other preferences or things you're looking at? Oh, obviously Evan Ingram you want, though.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you gotta ping Evan. If you have a chance to draft naked Evan Ingram in the 90s, you kind of have to go that way. Or not.
Wide receivers. So are we good with AJ Dillon to begin with?
I'm fine with AJ Dillon with the Green Bay correlation.
Okay. We're taking that. We need a wide receiver or a running back here.
I'd say wide receiver in this spot.
So we do
if you want to get Tyler Boyd for the double stack, more than fine with that.
Or who would our running back be?
P. Ryan, but that's a reach. Or Brian Robinson.
Gibson, Charbonnet.
I don't like Charbonnet all that much right now based on that situation. Too many mouths to feed. Not a lot of paths. And Antonio Gibson, here's the question. Is Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson the 2023 version of James Cook and Devin Singletary? Because I think it is.
I can't tell if that's a good or bad thing based off your comment.
People are drafting the pass-catching running back who's going to be the 35 to 40% of snaps and touches guy ahead of the guy who's going to get 60 to 70% of the snaps and touches, who's going 10 picks later on ADP.
If you do medium projections, Brian Robinson should be drafted specifically on Underdog ahead of Antonio Gibson. I believe that people are a little more attracted to Antonio Gibson because if one of the two were to go down, there's more thought that Antonio Gibson could maybe increase his role and be kind of a bell cow that's also very efficient in the passing game. If Gibson went down, I don't expect Brian Robinson to magically start catching passes and taking on more of that McKissick role as well. I believe that's where the thought process is. I personally would probably rather have Robinson, especially as ADP on Underdog, than Gibson, and on DraftKings or Drafters, I'll do the other way.
Okay. Because I remember last season banging the Devin Singletary drum. Like, he's the guy who's going to get 60, 70% of the snaps. And everybody wanted to draft James Cook 10, 20 picks ahead of him. And I was like, this is not a good idea, guys.
Yeah. And I think
sometimes the right pick isn't the sexy pick, is what I'm saying. Brian Robinson, not a sexy pick, but I believe that he's the right pick.
And same thing there. I think we know Devin Singletary is who he is. We know who he is. He ended up playing to like the top, quarter of his kind of expectations or like outcomes. And it's still like, you're just not going to get that much more than we got at Devin Singletary. The hope for the James Cook drafters is that he actually would have earned more. And, he's more dynamic of a player. He's used more effectively in the passing game. That I think was the hope. I think you have a similar one with Robinson Gibson. I think that Robinson and Gibson, I like better just on that offense this year. You don't have Josh Allen fighting for the goal line work. Sam Howell, maybe a little time. I don't think so as much. Eric Bieniemy going in there as the offensive coordinator, I think is going to make this just a more exciting offense. Hopefully faster pace, more snaps. We'll see, but I like them both.
Hope.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair. No, like I said, I'm not deadpanning. I'm not trash canning Gibson, I guess is what I'm saying.
I hear you. Okay. The icon is just in shambles right now. Dak going.
It's a Jared Goff team. You got to reach for Jared now.
Rack'em Willie grabs Brandon Cooks and grabs Dak from him.
And grabs Sky Moore from us. He's public enemy number 1 right now.
Oh, and he had the Trevor Lawrence or the Christian Kirk. So just lots of draft capital at that QB position. Not bad, but just notable. Icon, we need to check in. Just let us know, like, do you have a heart rate? How's that going?
Somebody take his shoelaces.
Freiermuth doesn't even fall to him to get that Seattle Pitt bring back for the correlation. Still doesn't. He's going to hope Geno falls to him. He's going to hope Goff and Geno fall to the 131, 134. And if they don't, Yeah, he may need to go buy a new phone.
There goes A-Chain. So is it Devin A-Chain or is it Devon A-Chain? Because it was Devin A-Chain until like 2 weeks ago, and now it's Devon.
I don't know the answer, but I'm going to use the Isaiah Pacheco example from the year before. We didn't know how to spell Isaiah Pacheco because it wasn't clear. And if you looked at Rutgers, they had his name spelled with 2 I's, Isiaih, which doesn't make sense, but that's what they had it as. And then it wasn't until before the draft that they actually asked him and he gave the real spelling. So like for all of his college time, they had it spelled incorrectly. It seems like with Devon A-Chain, it may have been the same thing where in college, they didn't have the apostrophe for a lot of it. I think it's Devon A-Chain.
Okay.
My streamers also know, especially because I've been doing these streams in like March, April, where I'm only reading these names and I haven't heard them before. So some of these hard ones, you just had to kind of hope and guess. And A-Chain was definitely one of those ones where I was drafting him a ton before the big board because just for his raw speed. The big board was the draft before the actual draft. Yeah, was just guessing Ashane, A-Chain. Got to get creative. Ooh, QBs are going on a run right here.
Yep. I doubt they get to I doubt this run gets to Tanny, but I'd be shocked if this run soaks in Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, no, I think we're safe there for
I think
a little.
we're good.
I am thinking, okay, so if we take a look from those running backs, Jerick McKinnon is the bring back for the Cincy that just got sniped by Young Moolah.
Damn it. I like Damian Harris in that range as well.
Okay, we are on the board. I'm putting Damian Harris in the queue. We should
probably put Bigsby later.
Geno Smith and Jared Goff in the queue as well.
Just to watch them for
just for icon. Just
a troll icon.
Okay, so we'll take the Damian Harris. It's our 4th running back, wide receiver as well. We should probably start thinking about like kind of that second stack. Maybe we could go Juju, Damian Harris, and also gives us a Mac Jones backdoor.
Where's Chig's ADP right now? Tight end?
142.
Leave him be.
Quite far. Yeah. You'll have 2 rounds to sell me on Chig as the complimentary. Yes, you're just going for the Tannehill as that second stack.
Yeah, I'd be building through that second stack.
Okay. Let's go Juju. It gives us the bring back to Damian, and it gives us that Mac Jones, maybe Hunter Henry as
can build. Yeah, I can build the backdoor stack there.
Yep, exactly. All right,
I mean, it gives us. Speaking about Chig, real quick.
Yes, go for it.
Who's the downfield threat in Tennessee?
I think it's going to be Treylon Burks, even though that's not exactly how he ran routes in college, but that's what I'm reading and thinking.
Okay. I don't know if he can get loose downfield. Right. Yeah.
It needs to be
It feels like Hopkins and him are short to intermediate guys.
Yeah.
And Chig was one of the best seam deep threat tight ends last year. I think that he's still going to operate in that sort of way.
Josh Norris gave a really strong argument for me and why not to be going after Chig. And it goes to do with like his routes run and his just overall snaps last year, even though, yes, he was very efficient on those when he was out there, when he was doing those routes. His yards per route run are fantastic, but he's just not going to become more than a 50%, player. And that's it. So if that's the case, then it's kind of one of those traps where, hey, we like what we're seeing in small sample size and in short usage, but then you bring in DeAndre Hopkins, and I think it kind of like is a reading the tea leaves that, yeah, it makes sense. Like, how many passes are also going to be thrown there?
Who else is going to eat up the tight end snaps from him there?
I mean,
with Hooper gone?
It's blocking. It's the short guy. Not sure. Ferkser. Anthony Ferkser is one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is Anthony Ferkser still there? Maybe Ferkser's not there. I don't know. But good to mention as well, and someone put it in chat, Burrow and Tannehill both with week 7 bye.
That's fair.
So probably
why was I think he was 13? Oh, I was seeing Justin Jefferson. My bad.
Yeah, we're in a little by week 7 concern here, so just want to keep an eye on this as we go forward. But the Mac Jones definitely makes the most sense right now. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So
Okay.
I'm in shambles based on my early drafting and hoping that Taekwon was going to be a bigger thing than Taekwon appears that he is going to be a thing, as he's one of the latest ADP fallers recently.
Yeah, that's not going well for him.
No, it's not.
To be fair, he saw his best practice yesterday. And by best, I mean he was out there.
He was at least running around. They let him on the field yesterday. So that's solid. They let him in the building. He has been locked out for the first week and a half.
Yeah. And then there's reports that I'm going to make sure I get this right. Demario Douglas may
What the hell is a Demario Douglas?
Exactly. Now, Demario Douglas has a better chance than I don't know better. Has a chance to actually be a wide receiver in 3 wide receiver sets instead of Tyquan Thornton.
Congratulations to the icon getting on the board with Jared Goff.
Oh, that deserves.
Gino got taken from him though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly surprised he didn't go Gino here. This is probably icon. I know you're in here. Give me your thoughts because Gino's ADP is like 115. It just felt like this is where Gino should have been drafted. You have the lock at the JSN. You still probably could have got Goff here. I know you were building for that Detroit one with the Jameson, but I would have gone. It just different.
Did
I would have
Gino
gone
go to the DK team?
No, that would make too much sense. DK is young Moolah, and he's got. I could have seen a Fields and Gino team though at 123 here instead of Jalen Warren. That would have made more sense.
Jalen Warren's been going in the 140s. All the running backs are flying. Bigsby's been in the 140s. All the zero RBs guys are flying up the board in this draft.
I think Jalen's going the other way as people are moving Tank Bigsby because it was kind of that Jalen and Tank were right near each other.
Yeah.
Positive reports for Tank that Tank's going to likely, has a chance to be the pass catching back, might steal some of the goal line work. Those are the two areas that ETN actually struggled at last year. So it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I could see that.
Is Bigsby a 40% guy? Yes or no?
What was that?
Is he going to see 40% of the snaps and touches? Yes or no?
Oh, God, no.
Okay.
But
how many?
40% is a ton.
40% is pretty much industry standard for most teams right now. 35 to 40%.
For what?
For the backup guy. Most teams don't run their main running back out there for 70+% of the snaps.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think most days we're seeing like starters are now like at that 60% is what I was going to go for.
That's what I'm saying. So it's usually a 60-40 split. Is he the RB2?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be more like a 55, 30, 15, the rest. Because you still have to account for like 10 to 15 that include QB scrambles, include your 1 or 2 sweeps, include maybe that third running back that's just offsetting. So that's where, like, I don't think
running back snaps and touches specifically. I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah. Quarterback runs, wide receiver jet sweeps, all that stuff adds into rushing attempts. I'm speaking specifically in the running back run.
Yeah, I think it's probably like 55, 35, 10.
Okay. And you think he's the 10 or the 35?
He's the 35. He's the 35. Yeah. And I think it depends. Is he going to get work and the pass catching? Is he going to get the goal line work? And if so, that's a valuable role.
Oh, if he is, then he's underpriced. He should be in the 90s.
Yeah, I think he's priced appropriately right now, just on being a pass catching back and the chance of an injury to ETN.
So everything that you're saying about James Cook from 2022, James Cook earlier is Tank Bigsby now, and Cook was going in the 80s to 90s last year, and Bigsby has come up from the 140s to 124 in this draft.
ETN,
I like that price a lot better than I like James Cook's price last year.
That's fair. I would go ETN is better than Devin Singletary from a talent wise, so it's harder to beat off. Didn't mean to say that. It's harder to
clip it.
Yeah, there you go.
Where are we going with this pick?
We are 1 pick away. I
have no idea what I want to do here.
Why is it so hard to get to this pick? Okay,
I'm leaning on you for this pick because I have no idea what to do because I can't see bye weeks.
Jamal Williams is not a bad running back. Actually, Jamal Williams is kind of great for this team as a 0 RB. Gives us 2 weeks. Gives us 3 weeks.
Mark Ingram with 3 weeks of 100% workload.
Yeah, and I think Kendra Miller is looking pretty good in practice, but like this is the time to get the value. So we'll take that. Also, that's 2 rounds of value. I don't want to do Michael Gallup because that by week 7 is not pretty.
That's not our friend.
No, MVS is actually a pretty good one
MVS makes sense. He's the other one who's going to be on the field a lot in Kansas City, even though he's highly average.
Yeah, and gives us that Cincinnati bring back that we've been missing.
Yeah.
All right.
Highly average. Marquez average Scantling. That's who we're drafting.
I like Marquez deep ball Scantling. It fits our team a little better.
Okay, good. That's way more positive than my. At least he's not Justin Hunter. At least he's not a cow. He's not out there just grazing on grass between the hash lines. Like, he's actually trying to do things. He's just not good at getting open.
Yeah. You've mentioned that you have like started the Kelsey Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. I fully look. I will build lineups that make sense, and sometimes and eschew ADP. Sometimes I will go for best player available and try to stack where possible. But I'm not against having a guy because with a guy like Mahomes at that ADP, because we are drafting for best case scenario always when we're drafting best ball. Draft like you're right, correct? So if we're right and he has a 5,000 yard, 45 to 50 touchdown year, and you can stack around him with 2 or 3 of his top touchdown scorers and pass catchers in the passing game, you're going to have that.
I was just going to ask you what you thought of his pass catchers.
They are average, but like, that's why I go Kelsey Mahomes. That's why I don't ever have a Mahomes lineup that does not have Kelsey in it.
Okay.
Right. And then I'll probably ping Jerick McKinnon later, around 115 to 125. If I can add, it was easy to add in Sky Moore when he was around 110. It's getting more difficult to do that now.
Tony's easy at 110 now. It's the first time I've started taking shares. I've started taking a little shares at this like 110 ADP.
I could hold my nose and pick him at around there. That's fine. I would prefer Watson super late, like 18th round. 17th round probably now.
Yeah.
He's been moving up recently.
He has. That's an interesting one. My thought on Kansas City. So last year I was very in on Juju. Overweight at that 5th round or so value, because my thought was like, if Kansas City is going to be a successful offense, there's going to be a wide receiver who really rises above the rest. And my thought was it was probably going to be Juju. That didn't work out.
It did for a while. He was getting 8 targets a game for like a lot of time.
Yeah. There was a path for about 3-4 games. One of them was an amazing game. The other ones were definitely high target. It wasn't bad. But what I think my learning is that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs can still have a very good year, and no wide receiver really has to rise above the rest. It can really just be the Mahomes and Kelsey and some running backs and just spread the ball out all over the place, and that works. And I feel like this year, people are going in with the same mindsets of last year that some wide receiver is going to rise. It's going to be either Sky Moore or Rashee Rice or Kadarius Toney or someone, whether it's MVS or Watson or Ross. But I don't think people have kind of taken in, but wait, it could just be none of them actually rise. And if
it could be none of them over 15% of the target market share. None of them could get over 13% of the target market share. They could all just kind of run out there and have a job and all be gadget guys.
Like, even
but
Sky
it's
Moore
great from a best ball perspective, because you're going to get spike weeks out of them and you're not having to pay a lot of ADP. It's triple digit ADP on most of them.
Even Sky Moore is still going to be in the slot. How valuable is that small slot wide receiver in a Mahomes offense? I actually think that there are other quarterbacks that the slot wide receiver is more valuable to, because they don't have like Jimmy Garoppolo or something, or Derek Carr, where they're not as actually effective at those downfield passes. They're not as actually effective at kind of letting plays come to fruition. And they need that kind of check down, quick route receiver. I don't think Sky Moore is like that valuable, even in the slot for an offense. I think he's a good pick. He's a fine pick, but I don't think he has that kind of upside that we thought Juju had last year.
Pardon my ADD here, but Paris Campbell at 162 seems earlier than usual too.
But this is the same Rachaad White guy, right? Yeah. Sometimes you just got to draft.
Rachaad White guy is Darren Wallen guy. Did he get Jones?
He's the one who went Paris Campbell. He went Daniel Jones too.
So he's going to stack his guy. That's fine.
Where's Hodgins? Did Isaiah?
I don't think I saw him, which is why I'm shocked that he went Campbell over Hodgins. I like Hodgins a lot.
Yeah, Hodgins did not go. Slayton obviously did not go. Maybe it was a Q situation. Maybe it was you just got to draft the guys you like.
Maybe we draft Hodgins here.
Possible. All right,
And what do you think about Jaden Reed? He's another guy that I like at ADP.
Love.
I think he beats Romeo Dobbs. I think
the gap between him and Romeo Dobbs is just insane. For 4 or 5 rounds, when Jaden Reed is a second round, better prospect, better talent. This is a clear case of just availability and early projections.
And we also sort of works on bye weeks. It gets a 6 and a 13. I know we have a 13 bye week, but it's not a 7, which is really the important thing right now for our team.
And Jefferson and AJ Dillon is our we already have pieces of this game. Jaden Reed is also going to be at his best, most likely in the playoffs. So we'll throw that in. That is going to give us a 1-5-7-1 build. Tight ends, we're probably going to just grab 2 late.
Hunter Henry or
could be 1, later. Could be 2. We got options. QB, just giving us options. Derek Carr, Matthew Stafford. Nothing really.
Jordan Love.
We probably still wait for the Mac Jones.
We could go Mac Jones. We could go Jordan Love right here. We got 12 seconds. Foreman? Go for it.
Let's go. I think we could still use some more running back. Foreman, Tyjae Spears. Foreman's probably better. He's splitting carries with Khalil Herbert. Don't love the bye week 13, but we've got 6 guys, so it's not bad. All right, let's do a little recap on the team so we can map out the rest of these last 3 picks. We've got Joe Burrow right now as our only QB. We've got David Montgomery, J.K. Dobbins, A.J. Dillon, Damian Harris, Jamal Williams, Deonta Foreman. 6 running backs on a 0 RB build.
None of them who need somebody to get off the field for them to get on the field. They're all on the field 35-40% of the time plus, and many of them with goal line work.
Was that a key part of your video of 0 RB?
It's kind of been my philosophy for the last couple of years, is that if you're going to be drafting 0 RB guys and drafting these players, don't draft guys who aren't on the field in usable slots. We have 6 running backs who are all on the field at go. There goes Hodgins at 174. That makes a lot of sense. It's fine to take a shot late in the 18th round.
The pick before.
Oh, he sniped him. Took it away. Like, he could have gotten Hodgins and Campbell if he just took Hodgins first.
Yeah.
Nobody was sniping Campbell.
This was bad. 0 RB. You were wrapping up.
Yeah, so I want guys who are on the field with a job. And then if the injury-prone nature of that running back position rears its ugly head for the guy ahead of him, now you've got somebody like a James Conner a few years ago who's like, well, he's just the guy who is the inside the 5 guy. He gets 10 carries a game. He can get 2 touchdowns, and it doesn't really help you in DFS. And then, who is it? Chase Edmonds went down, and all of a sudden now he's 25 touches with 6 targets and the inside the 5. So you want that guy who can turn into something like we were speaking about before. But more than likely, unless it's a situational pass catching guy like a JD McKissick or a Jerick McKinnon, they're never going to become 25 touch guys. But guys like Tank could. Guys like, show me our running back list. Guys like Harris could. You know, if there's an injury to the guy that we project to be in front of him. AJ Dillon could, if there's an injury to Aaron Jones. So these guys who are being drafted as 40% players in the running back rooms on their teams have a path to becoming 60 to 70% snap guys.
And on top of that, for a true 0 RB team where week 1, we need points, all of these guys on a site that is touchdown dependent, it is half PPR, we want touchdowns. Any of these guys, even if they're not the starter and they're only getting that 25-30% or whatever, could still get you touchdowns. And with 6 bullets in the chamber, all we need are 2 kind of early on until these guys can really come into form. We see some injuries in front of them. And yeah, Jamal Williams at this ADP value is just such a good fit for this team.
Getting him 20 picks behind ADP with like all those other guys we were talking about jumped, and then people don't have a need for him. Somebody has to fall. If all these other players are flying up the board, somebody's got to slide. We just got lucky that he slid. Now, I don't think he's going to slide that far on ADP continuous now that Kamara's back, right? So people, well, there's not a possibility of a 6 or an 8 game suspension. So like they think Jamal Williams is less valuable. What if he just got Mark Ingram's role?
Yeah.
That's valuable.
I think Kendra Miller is not really a threat to Jamal Williams. I think Kendra Miller is a threat to Alvin Kamara.
Really? Interesting. We've
So
got to prepare. We've got to prepare. We have 2 picks coming up.
We have 7 wide receivers. We could go 6-2-6-8-2. We could go. Maybe we just grab a QB and a tight end here and leave the last pick to be like, hey, we figure it out.
So we got to get Mac Jones.
I think that's the play. But we do have Derek Carr, Matthew Stafford, even though there aren't stack partners anywhere.
Look how much value. Why are they sliding that far? Jordan Love.
And I know that we have like Mac Jones and we were going to get the stacks, but like, I think
kind of like Jordan Love here.
Okay.
If you want Carr, we'll take Carr. It's your show.
No, Jordan Love makes a lot of sense. We are invested in that game from a Green Bay, Minnesota standpoint. Stacks work well. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
And then we can still take the non-catching tight end in Musgrave.
I was going to say, this makes me now definitely want to grab Musgrave, someone who's moving up the boards.
Yeah.
Okay. This worked out. There also was an opportunity to go Derek Carr, Juwan Johnson, but I think I'm still happier with this, the way the draft is going.
I'm very pleased with the way this worked out.
Or Rashid Shaheed. Carr and Shaheed.
You could go Carr, Shaheed, yeah. Well, you can't now, but...
Yeah, but I don't understand what's going on with this draft, but that's an example where no one grabbed Shaheed because they didn't have Carr. No one grabbed Carr because Juwan Johnson, yeah.
Now, the question is, with a stud tight end, are you completely against taking a third tight end if necessary? I'm saying if one of your guys falls to the last pick in the draft, a guy like Henry, who I know you like and I've drafted a lot of as well, are you against taking that guy? Or what do we have? 6 running backs, 7 receivers right now?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to pick one more wide receiver or one more running back? What's your philosophy?
I think most likely we end up with a tight end here. First to the first point around you've got an elite guy. Why do you need a third one? The best scenario for this team is one of 2 things happens to Mark Andrews. Either he has an average to meh year, and our other tight end or other 2 tight ends are able to get us into the actual playoffs, and then he has a strong playoffs. Or he gets us into the playoffs, and then in the playoffs has a bad week 15 and or week 16, and our other tight end propels us into that week 17. For those scenarios to happen, we need our second and third tight ends to really provide us with either strong value throughout the season or in the playoffs. So I like actually taking an elite guy, hoping he doesn't have the most amazing season or has a bad week or 2 in the playoffs, and my other guys can really carry us. And this would be an example for that. Point number 2 is pick 216. You're drafting a running back who's probably a 0. You're drafting a wide receiver who's probably a 0. The tight ends that are available at that place have far better projections.
Well, there goes Hunter Henry.
There you go. That's fine. Hunter Henry was not going to make it the way that he's been being. So we've been
getting gassed up recently.
Yeah. We've been hyping him ETR from a ranking standpoint and not understanding why he hasn't moved up. But now the industry, Pat Kerrane just put out in his article today about Hunter Henry, we're definitely going to see some movement there. But there's just so many tight ends available here that are just straight up better projected players, are more likely to end up in our slot, in our flex spot even, than if you were to go with a running back or wide receiver.
So I'm counting that we have 1.5 tight ends because I really like Musgrave from a talent profile standpoint, but like right now, everything I've read is like he's good at getting open, he looks really good, and he's very athletic, and he's not catching anything. And I don't know if that's because Love's been off target or if he literally has skillets for hands.
Yeah, the last guy that couldn't catch during practice was
it's not because of the stripes on the ball. It's not because of the stripes on the ball, Herzig.
You were considering taking him 1 overall, and we're not willing to take him at 193. I don't know what's going on with this world. Hey, what I care about right now for practice is who is running with what team, because I think actual touchdowns, actual catches, actual drops, those things are not predictive in the eyes of the coaches or the from a statistics standpoint. What is predictive in my mind is what do the coaches think of these players? And when he's getting as many snaps as he's getting with the ones, that tells me they want him to be the pass catching back. And they're willing to, in his rookie year, kind of, hey, give him that opportunity.
It's very hard to score fantasy points when you're holding your helmet on the sideline.
Not good. And there's a couple guys that we could consider from running backs that are probably just going to be riding that sideline. Also, I'm just going to say, like, if there is a wide receiver, a running back that does fall, and we're like, no, we're actually like that person, awesome. Let's do it. It's just usually at this point of the draft, tight end is what's the best place.
So are you buying the Puka Nakua hype train? Are you like me and like pinging as an RB6 on 0 RB teams? You picking McBride? Are you going like who are your go-to guys at this Mr. Irrelevant spot?
Tight end.
Tight end.
Easy answer is my all June, July is we don't have enough information to have confidence in drafting the running backs. And even the running backs you're looking at drafting then, if they are the right guy, they're not going to massively increase in cost into August. But in August is when we should have increased confidence on who those right guys are. I think Isaiah Likely makes a lot of sense. Ooh, we have Andrews.
I didn't know if you were doing that on purpose. Or do you want to go with Logan here?
I still don't hate it.
I don't look if they can both play, they can run 2 tight end. Or if we lose Andrews, we have Isaiah Likely. We're handcuffing tight ends now. This is the new trend. This is the new normal in Best Ball Mania 4.
We talked about the argument from Mark Andrews is that he has a meh week or two in the playoffs or in the regular season. What better way for him to have a meh week than if he's hurt? And Isaiah Likely is the guy you need to either get you to that next round or week 17. Andrews is hurt and we have a unique Likely.
And we have seen what happens when Andrews gets hurt and Likely's role expands.
It's been money in the bank. There's tiny rumors that like maybe they might have. I'm not even sure who the person is, but there's another Ravens tight end that's starting to get a little more. It might be Kohler or Vokalek. I can't even tell you, but I'm trying not to let it discourage me. We'll see. Okay, I think we drafted Isaiah Likely. It kind of just froze on it.
We're going to go, but he's there.
Into the completed drafts real quick and hope that he finished up there. Where are we? There we are.
There it is.
And in the final tight end, Isaiah Likely for the combo. I'm going to say that's pretty unique because, hey, not only are you drafting Mark Andrews and someone with the same bye week on his own team, but you're having to do 3 to avoid that as well. So there's some uniqueness. Mark Andrews.
Without Lamar.
And yeah, with the cheaper part of that, because we've got the Jordan Love. And as we said, QBs correlate in one sample size game, except we got ours in week 17, round 17, not round 3 Lamar. Overall, though, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about this team?
I prefer to get like a rushing quarterback at some point, but this worked out, I think, because of the correlation that we built in, not just with their own pass catchers, but with the week 17 correlation on both sides. We had to go full 0 RB because of the way that we attacked the beginning of the draft. And like we were discussing around round 14 or 15, we got all guys who are on the field and not requiring an injury in front of them to at least be scoring some points. And many of them, 5-6 of them, are goal line backs. Also gives us that touchdown upside. The wide receiver room, I think, is strong. There's a couple of one-offs. Yes, we're going to need some help in week 7 with 3 of our top 4 picks being off, but at least we're going to have Justin Jefferson on the field that week, and hopefully we can get a usable week from one of the other guys that we have, whether it's going to be Juju or MVS or Jaden Reed, if he is a guy who has established himself at that point. And I do believe that he is going to establish himself as one of their top 2 targeted pass catchers in Green Bay this year. And
out of the bye week 2. He takes the bye week 6, and then week 7, he comes in the field as a primary starter. That's our hope.
There you go. So we have everything that we need. Now it's just a matter of whether the game's going to play out the way we want.
Like it. Well, overall, I think it's pretty decent. I enjoyed it. Al, you talked about Rainmakers. What are your thoughts on Rainmakers this year? You diving back in?
Yeah, I like it. I had a lot of fun with it last year. It was profitable for me last year. It seems like the team has made some changes that a lot of us that were playing at the Rainmakers tier were asking for. They haven't done everything that we want. I'm of the mindset that I will give them their flowers when they do things well, and I will critique them when they do things that I believe are done the wrong way. Right now, it looks like there's a lot more things that looks like they're doing them the right way as opposed to the wrong way. They know that if they put out packs that are negative EV with all the complementary sites that are out there, they're just going to sit on the shelves and not sell. So these packs, these first groups of packs that are coming out this week, look really solid. So we'll see how it goes.
Nice. I saw you during the keynote session making some jokes in chat.
Oh, that was a hot. See, that was a train wreck. The keynote was train wreck. Like I'll give them their flowers when they do things right, but I'm going to critique them when they do things wrong. That was awful.
There were some tech difficulties. What
do you have? What else? Tech difficulties. It was bad.
What else do you have going on the rest of August?
Same as usual, guys. I'm going to be streaming. I'll be on 06010 every Thursday with Dop and Mike Clay. We'll be over on Twitch. All my links can be found at smizzle.tv/links.
Awesome. Chat, you were fantastic. Lively. Thank you for drafting with us. Icon, hopefully you are still with us as well. All right, everyone else, have a great rest of your week. I will see you all on Thursday. We've got another great guest or two coming on. I'll see you all later.